Joining us now to discuss today's headlines is Liberal Senator Hollie Hughes and 2GB's Clinton Maynard. Good morning to you both. Hollie, at the Sydney hospital in question here, some of the staff were so tired that they got into car accidents on the way home. That is no way to treat our essential workers.
Oh, absolutely not. It's extraordinary that workers are being put through these sorts of situations. But we need to remember we're almost 2 years into the Albanese government, and they were the ones promising all of these wonderful emergency healthcare clinics where people were going to be saved from going to emergency rooms, that they were going to be able to go into these health clinics, see a doctor, be bulk billed, and of course, like so many other things that the Albanese government promised, it's just another broken promise, and it's putting this increased pressure onto our hospitals across the board. It doesn't matter what state you go to. I'm in Queensland at the moment. I'm a New South Wales-based senator. It doesn't matter if in South Australia or if in Western Australia. Everywhere you go, hospitals are under the absolute pressure, particularly with the ambulances. There's ramping across the country because we are seeing more and more people not being able to afford to go to a local GP, not being able to get into a local GP, and so the emergency room is their only point of call.
That is, I mean, I experienced this myself towards the end of December, going into an emergency ward with children, lots of people in there. The staff are incredible, but even they are telling us, look, we don't have enough workers on at the moment. Clinton, how are we supposed to recruit more healthcare staff when they're seeing stories like this and these are the sorts of conditions that they're having to face every day?
I think it comes down to funding, Jane, and they're having to work 12-hour shifts, and let's be honest, nurses aren't paid enough, and there are increases in different states at the moment. They're still not paid enough. It comes down to funding. Now, it's not that there isn't enough funding. I think it's how we spend the money. For years, we've seen problems like this in hospitals, and I think the issue is the fact the federal government raises the money through the Medicare system, but it's the states who spend it in the main through hospitals, and yes, the federal government funds GPs, but you have this enormous amount of duplication and confusion about who's responsible for what, and often it's the states pointing the fingers at the feds, and the feds pointing their finger at the states. They need to overhaul how we run funding for hospitals and healthcare.
Hospitals, schools, pretty much everything you could put in that same boat, couldn't you? I do want to talk about another issue now. Queensland's Premier Stephen Miles is being compared by some to Scott Morrison after he took a holiday as the state's Christmas storms hit. He didn't go to Hawaii, I don't think, Hollie, but the Premier has defended this move. He says good leaders need to spend time with family. What are your thoughts on this?
Well, hypocrisy writ large. You know, I mean, these guys could not throw more mud at Scott Morrison when he tried to spend time with his children. And I don't care whether you're in a caravan park on the Sunshine Coast or you're in Hawaii. If you're on leave, you're on leave. And in this modern day of technology, you've got a phone, you've got an email, you've got every access to communication. But the fact that these guys, and when I say these guys, I mean the Labor Party, be it at state or federal level, the mud that they threw at Scott Morrison. Now, am I suggesting Scott Morrison going on holiday at a time where there were bushfires? You know what, timing-wise, was probably not great. But Queensland has just had the most horrific storms. We've had the theme parks on the Gold Coast not even open this week, probably one of their busiest weeks of the year, because they haven't had power. Yet the newly appointed Premier, and let's be honest, he's been there, what, 6, 7 weeks? Like, I could be even stating that, yet he needed a holiday? Come on. I think everyone needs a break, everyone needs a holiday, but when the Labor Party wanted to throw mud at Scott Morrison, that was all super good. Now, oh no, we need to spend time with our family. This is the kind of politics, this is the kind of ridiculous stuff that actually needs to stop. And we all need to get back to doing our jobs. Quite frankly, I'm on holiday with my kids. We go home tomorrow. I'm hoping there'll be a change of government towards the end of the year. And I'm hoping this is my last summer holiday that I get to take with my kids without having to be focused on a portfolio and doing my job. Because when you're in government, that's what you're there to do.
Clinton, does the Senator have a point?
She does, and I think they're very similar situations, the two situations. And sometimes I even feel sorry for politicians. Then I wake up and think, no, hang on.
Clinton. We are actual people, you know.
Yes, but...
I have 3 kids.
Correct. But you put yourself in that position and you go to the public
but
and you ask
the public.
conscripts. You ask the public to vote for you.
They are conscripts. Our kids are the conscripts.
True, true. But I don't feel sorry for Stephen Miles in this situation. He should be fronting up. And I think about a Premier who was very popular, Jane Hollie, in New South Wales a few years ago, Gladys Berejiklian. And one of the reasons she actually had, I think, the love of the public in New South Wales was dating back to the Black Summer bushfires. She fronted up day after day after day in front of the cameras. Now, yes, she wasn't out there with the hose, as Mr Morrison referenced, but she was leading. She was there facing the cameras, showing support for the public.
All right, Clinton Maynard and Hollie Hughes, thank you both for your time this morning.